Good evening to one and all present. I, on behalf of Department of Clothing and Textiles, Government Home Science College, welcome you all in the inaugural session of Textile Week 2020. I request Mrs. Chaya Verma, head of the department, to speak few words with us.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first day of the virtual celebration of Textile Week organized by the Panache Club of the Department of Clothing and Textile, Government Home Science College, Chandigarh. Every year, Textile Week is celebrated by the Department of Clothing and Textiles to inculcate the value of appreciating the rich cultural heritage and to develop the healthy competitive spirit amongst the students. Various competitions organized during the week boost the creativity of the students. Revival of traditional textiles, handloom of Khadi fabrics has always been the part of this celebration. Last year, we celebrated the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi with the mantra Khadi for Nation and Khadi for Fashion, given by our Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi ji. He urged the people of our country to wear khadi through Man Ki Baat. His efforts to promote khadi has created lots of awareness amongst the youth and motivated them to wear khadi. Researchers show that the demand of khadi has increased exponentially in last few years. But we are not able to match the production with the demand due to age-old traditional charkha and handlooms, which are unable to produce the sufficient quantity of khadi fabrics. Today's live talk has been planned to spread awareness amongst the youth of India about our national fabric, its revival through value addition. I am sure this live talk will go a long way to generate awareness and will definitely motivate the students to take up some research projects using this simple but amazing fabric that is khadi. I'm extremely happy to share that today's speaker is our own eminent alumna and true well-wisher of Government Home Science College, Dr. Poonam Agrawal Thakur, Principal, NIFT, Mohali, Ludhiana and Jalandhar. She is a perfect teacher, administrator, designer, entrepreneur, and above all, a wonderful human being. Before we start with the session, I would like to share a message from our Honorable Principal, Professor Sudha Katyal, who has always been a constant motivation for all of us. May I request the technical team to share the principal's message.
Good evening, everyone.
Textile
Textile
craft and
craft and
textile
textile
design
design
both
both
have
have
made
made
strong
strong
impact
impact
on
on
individual
individuals
as
as
well
well
as
as
on
on
communities.
communities.
We
We
Indians
Indians
are
are
indeed
indeed
very
very
lucky
lucky
and
and
blessed
blessed
kinds
kinds
because
because
the
the
cultural
cultural
heritage
heritage
of
of
textile
textile
in
in
India
India
is
is
very
very
rich.
rich.
So,
So,
the
the
need
need
of
of
the
the
hour
hour
is
is
not
not
only
only
to
to
conserve
conserve
this
this
cultural
cultural
heritage
heritage
of
of
textiles,
textiles,
but
but
to
to
promote
promote
it
it
like
like
our
our
Honorable
Honorable
Prime
Prime
Minister
Minister
Shri
Shri
Narendra
Narendra
Modi
Modi
has
has
propagated
propagated
the
the
idea
idea
that
that
we
we
should
should
be
be
vocal
vocal
for
for
local.
local.
In
In
this
this
backdrop,
backdrop,
the
the
Panish
Panish
Club
Club
of
of
Department
Department
of
of
Clothing
Clothing
and
and
Textile
Textile
is
is
organizing
organizing
a
a
textile
textile
week
week
starting
starting
from
from
today,
today,
that
that
is
is
9th
9th
of
of
October
October
till
till
15th
15th
of
of
October.
October.
A
A
host
host
of
of
activities
activities
will
will
be
be
organized
organized
during
during
this
this
week.
week.
There
There
will
will
be
be
talks
talks
on
on
value
value
addition
addition
of
of
khadi,
khadi,
conservation of
conservation of
textiles,
textiles,
various
various
eminent
eminent
speakers
speakers
and
and
experts
experts
in
in
the
the
field
field
will
will
take
take
part
part
in
in
these
these
talks.
talks.
There
There
will
will
be
be
quiz
quiz
on
on
heritage
heritage
of
of
textile,
textile,
There will be intra-college competitions for students on embroidery and sketching of sari draping. There will also be a workshop on contemporary printing. I wish the faculty members of Department of Clothing and Textile all the very best for their initiative. I also hope that these activities will kindle interest in the students regarding their rich heritage of textile as well as
नहीं नहीं है. Now, I would like to take the opportunity to introduce our very own alumna and today's speaker, Dr. Poonam Agarwal Thakur, Principal, NIFT, Mohali, Ludhiana and Jalandhar. Along with 25 years of glorious national and international teaching experience, she has many feathers in her cap, such as designer, writer, researcher, successful entrepreneur, and not the least a social activist. She has presented many papers in various national and international journals, seminars. She has also chaired numerous national and international conferences. Her energetic aura is unbound as she, she traveled overseas for exploring possibilities for quality education and got sanctioned 2 projects with Yukiri under her name. Moreover, she has done various design projects with private and government bodies such as KVIC, Government of India, Ministry of Textiles, to name a few. She has been associated with various NGOs such as Meher Baba Charitable Trust, Sangrah, etc. Last but not the least, she has also done extensive research work for revival of Khadi. She also owns trademark Prerna and Inspiration. She also she is also a head designer of Khadi Plus. Now I would like to invite Dr. Poonam to enlighten us with her vast knowledge in the field.
Thank you, Anila. Thank you so much. Formally, a very, very good evening to all of you, especially this October evening that all of us in India long for because we had a long summer this time. So, thank you so much, Dr. Sudha Katyal, Principal, Government Home Science College, and also Dr. Chaya, HOD, Clothing and Textiles Department at Government Home Science College, and all my fellow colleagues at Home Science College. Trust me, it's like coming back home. It's a great feeling today, Dr. Chaya, when I sit at this platform and again speaking for Government Home Science College. So thank you, everybody. And before I make you people stay further, and I don't want to delay you, I want to take you to a journey for which I am here today. Dr. Chaya had personally asked me to talk something about value addition in Khadi today. But then, let me tell you, Dr. Chaya, I am extremely sorry for doing a little variation. I have called it as Khadi, a design perspective, because I think for adding value to anything, design plays a very, very important role. And now, let me also tell you, when I'm talking about value addition to Khadi, do you actually understand what is Khadi? Because today youth stands unaware. Today's youth relates with Khadi only as something, because Narendra Modi has been saying, the Prime Minister of our country has been saying that we should wear Khadi. So people have started moving back to Khadi Bhandar, especially the youth who did not even had an idea, has started going to Khadi Bhandars and started looking for this fabric called as Khadi. But let me add to your knowledge today, and I'm sure you will go home and realize that you are the proud citizens of a country, India, to which this original fabric Khadi belongs. So the way Gandhi has given a nomenclature, Mahatma Gandhi, or the way the world has known, Khadi is anything which is hand woven and hand spun. And to you, it could be a woolen khadi, it could be a cotton khadi, it could be a silk khadi, it could be a jute khadi. So let me tell you, that's how the world has known khadi, any fabric which is hand woven or hand spun. But there's further more to it. Whenever you go to the market to buy fabric, you buy fabric because it appeals to your eye. But you are proud owner, you have to be proud owners of something which does not only appeal to eye, something which appeals first to your heart and then to eye. That is what is khadi all about. Before I take you further to the journey, before I start talking to you about the value addition, let me tell you about certain characteristics of khadi. What is that we relate the most about khadi? We relate to khadi because we say that khadi has a rich Gandhian heritage. Anybody in India, anybody abroad, everybody relates khadi even till date with a Gandhian fabric. Everybody says that Mahatma Gandhi is the one who gave birth to khadi. So this has a very strong Gandhian heritage, and it finds a great place for itself in the biography of Mahatma Gandhi, the father of Indian continent. It is a symbol of truth and non-violence because it is this khadi that the world knows was one basic fabric which got us the freedom without fighting. And whatever we are today, if we are sleeping well, standing well, moving well in an independent country, there lies the backbone, and that is khadi. It falls under an eco-friendly category because all of us know that this is hand-woven, hand-spun natural fibers. So automatically it comes under eco-friendly category. It has a high credibility amongst public because something which is close to our mind, before that something has to be closer to our hearts. And the moment it gets closer to our heart, the credibility increases. It possesses a unique property of keeping the wearer warm in winters and cool in summers. All of us who are present on this platform, my national as well as international associates who are from the field of clothing and textiles, they understand that the beauty of khadi is all about because of its air pockets. And it's all that air pockets which gives this quality to the fabric of keeping it warm in winters and cool in summers. Production of khadi leads to immense employment generation. Do you think that something can be an asset till the time only it's a product of beauty? No, it is not. It is very important for any product to be functional also, alongside to be creative or to be beautifully used. So it is both the components which are important, and khadi is one fabric which has played a biggest role in the employment generation in our country, and it is one industry in the government of India which is being funded the most. In khadi, we have the availability of both the coarser yarns and the finest of the yarns and the fabrics. Initially, we would only hear about khadi, which was a very, very coarse fabric. But when I'll take you to the journey of the fabric, you will realize that I have finest of the fabrics available. So much so, more than 150 count fabric is also available in khadi now. And relating you with all these qualities that I have quoted above, make this fabric just the right fabric for clothing. So it's not only the fabric which is going to be used directly for the accessories. Today, khadi is just the right fabric for clothing. And why is it the right fabric for clothing? It is the right fabric for clothing because it's meeting all the requirements that is required to be met by any fabric which is to be converted into clothing. It is comfortable, looks after the health. When I say that it takes care of the health, because I know that it's a skin-friendly fabric, naturally dyed, made of a natural fiber. It feels good. Whether it's the coarser or the smoother feel of the fabric, both soothe the hand. And easy care properties as well as performance. You may say that I'm boasting when I say easy care properties. No, I'm not boasting when I say easy care properties. Because of the surface treatments which are being given to the khadi fabric these days, it has become a very easy to use fabric. So much so that it is becoming more health related fabric also, because there are a lot of antimicrobial finishes also which are being experimented on khadi. And we know that we need all the above qualities and characteristics in the fabric because human skin is very soft and tender. And ultimately, to wear a garment on this human skin, the fabric which is used has to be dyed with the chemical safe dyes. And khadi is one material which to a very, very large extent is direct dyed, and the dyes which are used for dyeing khadi fabric are majorly natural dyes. Yes, even if we have a lot of chemical dyes also being used these days, but the market for the naturally dyed khadi is still extensive. We get a lot of materials, right from the softer to the coarser, as I said earlier, and to remain cool and warm, the property of comfort is added to the material. But before I further take you to the journey, let me also introduce you to the different type of khadi. Most of us generally relate with khadi only as a cotton khadi, but there is an availability of a poly khadi in the market. There is availability of khadi wool in the market. Khadi muslin is available. Khadi silk is available. As I said earlier, that whenever I'm talking about khadi, khadi is not only cotton. It is anything which is hand woven and hand spun. So that gives me a list of these materials which are available on any possible khadi stores. But we know khadi only as a fabric of revolutionaries. But let me take you to the journey of an eventful birth from fabric of revolutionaries to the fabric of designers. Let me tell you, where did this process of value addition in khadi begin? Why did it happen? How did it happen? And how far we have come today in this? All of us who are from the field have read a lot of books. We've read Mary Shorion. We've read all related books which talks about clothing. We've read the origin of embroidery. We've read the origin of fabric. And we understand that there has been a lot of evolution in the development of the fabric. The evolution continued. But one fine evening, overnight, the revolution came. And the hand spinning and the weaving was taken over by the machines. Trust me. We would have never been able to see khadi if there would have not been somebody who would conquer this powerloom scenario and give us back the handlooms. Powerloom captured the market from the reigning handloom and became the undisputed winner, because there was nothing that we could look back. We were getting the material, it was being woven so fast, whatever material was being produced was so cheap, so everybody was rushing and buying fabric. I still remember when I was very young, my mother would say that I have a pajama made out of Japanese fabric. Pata, this doesn't tear off. That's what she generally used to tell me. So that was the strength of the fabric which was made through powerloom. And since everybody was attracted to powerloom fabrics, because it has, as I said, that it had a lot of advantages, people were not thinking of anything else. And that was the time when India was being ruled by Britishers. And in spite of the fact that we were poor, in spite of the fact we did not have means, we were only buying powerloom fabrics. But a time came when the Indians started to revolt to gain freedom. And this was when our father of the nation, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, who was a great freedom fighter, the world has known him as a great freedom fighter, who believed that Swadeshi is the first step towards independence. To all my fellow foreign associates who are connected with me live now, Swadeshi is something which belongs to me, to us. To belongs to our own origin. So something which is our own. So this was one concept that Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi came with, that it is only Swadeshi which is the first step towards independence. That is why he wrote in 1909 in Hind Swaraj, which was a local Hindi newspaper, that freedom cannot be attained without charkha. And for all of you, charkha is a spinning wheel. So it's a Hindi word called charkha. It's spinning wheel. Further to this, he established Kochar Ashram, because he realized that if I move from road to road saying that, I need to gain freedom, I need to gain freedom through Swadeshi, I will have to have a place from where this complete revolt can happen and the movement can start. In this Kochar Ashram, there were a lot of handlooms, but something ironical was still there. Something ironical still existed, and it was something which was bothering Mahatma Gandhi, that on the handlooms, it was still the mill-made yarn which was woven. So what to do? We wanted to use Swadeshi to gain independence. We were using handlooms, but we were still using the mill-made yarn which the Britishers were producing for us. Then he realized that it was not appropriate to use the mill-made yarns. Thus, he started looking for charkhas, because actually these charkhas were the ones which had got lost in this particular age of powerloom, because everybody would realize if we stop using something, that becomes vestigial, that becomes redundant. So there were hardly any families which were using the spinning wheel charkha. Everybody was buying fabric, the powerloom fabric. But this search of charkha Gandhiji could not carry out alone. So he had a lot of associates who were related with him, who were associated with him for this freedom struggle. And his activist, Gangaben Gandhiji's associate, was able to search one family who would still be doing hand spinning in Bijapur. And that is where the actual development of Khadi began. And that is when that first family who was still spinning in Bijapur was found, that made us realize, and made Gandhiji realize, perhaps, I'm so sorry saying that made Gandhiji realize that this was the first step towards achieving Swaraj. And Swaraj, again, is a Hindi terminology, which means independence. It was this search which could again help us weave the fabric by using hand spun yarns. I repeat, my dear friends, it was again at this particular time when this particular family was found in Bijapur that this Khadi fabric was possible. The fabric could be hand woven and hand spun, and it was at this particular time that Gandhiji named this fabric as Khadi. For all my partner associates who are available here, let me tell you, we have been wearing clothes which are made of fabrics. They were always there. They got lost in power looms, the hand woven and hand spun fabric. Again, it was revived. It was revived for actually getting back our Swaraj. And when this fabric was revived for getting the Swaraj back, that is when the nomenclature Khadi was given to it. That is why this fight of the various countries saying Khadi is ours, cannot be entertained, because it was for the freedom of the country India to attain that Swaraj. The fabric was, hand spun and hand woven, and Gandhiji named this fabric as Khadi. And it was from here that the journey of value addition to Khadi started, my dear friends. In 1919, Gandhiji called for a Khadi fast. You see how beautifully the Khadi is going to be added various values to it. In 1919, Gandhiji called for Khadi fast all over the country and related Khadi directly with freedom. It was then that all were sure that abolishing the foreign goods and producing Khadi was the only way to get freedom, that we would not be able to get freedom. But then, do you think using Khadi was so easy? No, it wasn't. We had just started spinning the yarn, but there were very few spinning wheels. It was so tough for us to find one in Bijapur. Spinning wheels could not be developed overnight. There were very few spinning wheels in Kathiawar. And for systematic usage and production of Khadi, it was important that we had multiple spinning wheels, the multiple hand looms, which could be put at a production center. And finally, such like production center for spinning the yarn, the hand spun yarn was started at Amreli. You see, we are just on the line of the development of an addition of a value. The form of Khadi which was available earlier was much different from what is available today. I call that as value addition. I call that journey of Khadi from the coarser of the fabric to the finest of the fabric today as value addition in Khadi. You must know that at that time, it was only 4-count yarn which was used to weave 24 inches wide fabric. Ladies and gentlemen, 4-count is a very, very harsh and a coarse yarn. And that yarn was used to weave only 24 inches wide fabric. Any standard small, medium, large, extra large sizes that we use, whether for a man or a woman, would not be able to give even a front of a garment in 24 inches. We talk about a complete garment. We cannot talk about a sari or a dhoti in 24 inches wide fabric. But Gandhiji, father of the nation, decided that I'm going to gain freedom with this particular fabric. And at that particular time, this coarser and a shorter width of the fabric was called as beja. After achieving a little success in the production of Khadi, it was decided to open the first Khadi Bandar. Do you think it's easy? Do you think, anybody who is sitting back home producing the fabric can sell it? No, it is not possible. And we were talking about bigger things about achieving freedom. So after this little success, we needed a person who had a vision. And we had Mahatma Gandhi behind us, who thought that let us open one particular Khadi Bandar wherein this produced Khadi could be sold. And to add to your knowledge, ladies and gentlemen, the first shop was finalized at a rent of rupees 15 per month in Mumbai. And trust me, the times that I'm talking about, 1920s, 15 rupees per month was a huge amount. People could not imagine. And that was the amount of money which was being paid for rent renting out Khadi Bhandar. And the Khadi priced at 4 anna a yard started to sell from the shop. For my foreign associates, the currency of Indian currency is rupee, and 1 rupee broken into 4 equal parts gives us 4 anna. So it's 1/4 a part of an Indian rupee was the price at which the fabric started selling in a Khadi Bhandar. But as I told you earlier, the width of the fabric was very less. The yarn was coarse. So ultimately, it was not very appropriate for making garment and accessories. And finally, whatever could be developed was only kurtas and pajamas. And when the kurtas and pajamas were also developed, they were also patched up. Multiple layers had to be joined together because bits were smaller. Sometimes 2 bits were joined in the length, and then the garment was developed, and sometime in the width, and then the garment was developed. So these permutation combinations in the fabric and patching had to be done to ultimately develop a garment. But dhoti and sari, which were the main dresses of the Indian, could not be fulfilled. That is why we still had to add more value. We still had to try, put an effort, add value to the khadi so that it could actually be worn by the people. This thought that this fabric cannot be converted into garments made Gandhiji really worried. And the worry was more because there was hardly any sale of khadi. Only those people who would buy fabric would buy. But the first thought of a value addition to khadi came to Mahatma Gandhi first ever. And it was that on his suggestions, first time ever, in few days, 108 different type of cloth articles were prepared and displayed in khadi shop. Can you imagine at that particular time when there are very, very less avenues, 108 different type of cloth articles are prepared and displayed in a khadi shop? Yes, it was done. And it was in that first ever Khadi Bhandar in Mumbai. But when such like products were developed, again, we had to further work hard. And in order to meet the demand of the stitched clothing, which was increasing day by day, now people instead of buying the fabric, they wanted to buy a garment. They would want to get that garment stitched. So first time ever, a stitching section was opened in a Khadi Bhandar. And all my Indian associates who have been moving to the Khadi Bhandar and live in different cities of the country would still know that whenever you go to a Khadi Bhandar, in the Khadi Bhandar, the moment you enter, either on the left or on the right side, you will find a small separate room with a very old man stitching still on a hand sewing machine. So that is what belongs to India. That's what is originally Indian, but we have been keeping and trying to, keep on adding value to that product. Initially, only the fabric which could not be sold on the counter was used for producing the garment. When we started doing it, why did we keep tailors in the Khadi Bhandar? The reason was that my fabric was not being sold, so the tailors were required. But later, the demand increased so much that the fabric was specially produced. The yardage was specially produced so that it could be converted into clothes. This is how the value which was added to khadi had taken it a long way. And this ultimately led to the increase in the sales of the khadi. The problems which were encountered while producing ready-made clothing in khadi were the short width of the fabric, which I've already told you. And now, even if we were able to make the smaller garments, we were able to make accessories like dhotis, rumals, gamchas, but the basic requirement of an average Indian was a dhoti and a sari. And something like 4 yards and 44 inches was very, very clumsy. And since slowly and slowly, this particular the motion of gaining freedom, the freedom movement started moving all over the country. Gandhiji had associates from all over the country who would come and visit him in Sabarmati Ashram. And it was then when Sri Lakshmi Asar came to Sabarmati Ashram from Calicut, he carried with him a dhoti woven in 10 and 12 pound. That was something, a ray of hope to people in the eastern, western, and the northern parts of the country. And it was then that a lot of production started on the lines of Tirupura and south in Mumbai also. And there was a great increase in the sale of the saris. So you can imagine, so many years down the lane, it was a sari of 10 to 12 count, which was being worn by the people. Amazing journey, an amazing journey, journey towards freedom, journey towards value addition in khadi we've lived, and we can boast of it today. it was the time when we were trying to get the independence. Even it was not only the independence that we were trying to get, and we were trying to gain Swaraj. It was the time when charkha was being reborn in the different parts of the country. Everybody all over the country, like flames, started installing charkhas at their place. Hand spinning, which was forgotten, was being revived to a very large extent. Today, we are talking about revival of khadi. At that time, it was about revival of hand spinning. And this revival of hand spinning is leading to various development in khadi and becoming a reason for a huge demand. Today, all my Indian and foreign associates who are connected with me today, you will vouch this word that the world wants to wear khadi today. It would have not been possible if a fabric called khadi would have not been reborn. And it was this fight which Mahatma Gandhi helped us take, that Britishers left India and we gained our independence and we gained our own fabric with philosophy khadi. Stay on. This was only the background. So I generally wanted to tell you actually how khadi was born and how little bit, adding on to the value had got us the independence. But don't you think that if we've gained independence, we are forgetting khadi? Don't you think that there's a lot that needs to be done? There's a lot that we need to tell the world that exists. For that, it's important that we do the SWOT analysis. We're talking about the SWOT analysis of any and everything today because we have an international competition. But we know khadi, which belongs to us, has a great customer equity. Nobody can deny that. Today, so many years down the lane, we have a wonderful tailoring service available. So any and every possible type of customized clothing could be developed. And so much so, we have a wide range of ready-made clothing which is available in khadi today. Excellent supply chain. And so much so, new stocks available every 2 weeks. It has a brand name no other brand in the world has. Khadi is one brand which is known in every nook and corner of the world. And anybody who comes to India wants to take back home khadi. And also, we are very, very lucky today that we are born and we're growing in an era which is an era of innovation. And this innovation has actually touched khadi also. And the culture of innovation is taking over khadi, which is giving us beautiful range of clothing which is available at different counters of khadi now. A lot of opportunities are available because the innovation is giving us new products. And we have a lot of markets because now, the foreigners come to our country and they want to take home a khadi store. They would come, speak to the people, meet people, and they would say, oh, how can we open this khadi bhandar in our country? I know so many such instances. And also we have an opportunity because we're trying to move online. That online presence is increasing in case of khadi also. But do you think my strengths and opportunities can only work? I still have a lot of weaknesses. When I say I speak on behalf of khadi. There's a lot that still needs to be done on a clothing line for men. We're doing a lot of range development for women. We've always been partial, but there's a lot that can be developed on a clothing line for women. And that is what Dr. Shaya said in the right in the beginning, that students who are also connected with me right away will get a lot of things that they can explore as research topics and the areas where they can work on. So, my dear students, the development of a clothing line for men is one area that you people can work on. The weakness is the cost structure, because khadi, even is being sold in all over the country, doesn't sell by the same rate. Every state has its own add-on taxes which are being added, so that cost variation in khadi remains. And also, because it is hand woven and hand spun, it's expensive. But remember, if you have to buy gold, you have to pay the price of gold. You cannot pay the price of brass. So that's the type of feeling and belongingness that I have to this fabric, and I very strongly support it. Why do I say that online presence is a weakness? Because khadi bhandars, which are originally the public-private corporations, do not have a very strong online presence. And the khadi the make is not available online. But Government of India has given us a provision for any private party to actually take khadi mark. That's a license to sell original khadi, and you can sell it online also. Threats are the common as recession and competition. That's not something specific for Khadi. That's for all of us. So amidst all the SWOT and the basic SWOT analysis that I've spoken to you, I have to show you something. That was only the background. That was how the fabric started. But do you know that ever since we've got the independence, we're forgetting the fabric? My youth today doesn't even know how a Khadi fabric looks like. You know, if I go and meet people, if I talk to people, they only have this thought, nah, the Khadi fabric is very coarse, ma'am. It bothers the skin. It hurts us. It is very harsh. My dear gentlemen, and also my dear friends and ladies and youth which is connected to me. What you can see in front of you is made out of 86 count khadi, medically tested, laboratory tested for all the basic, and with the certification of khadi. This is original hand woven and hand spun fabric. This is 86 count. And another surprise to you, the garments that you see in front of you are not single layered. They're made out of a double layer khadi material. Yes, because the range that you're seeing in front of you is for infants. And when the range was being developed, and since it is a research project which was being carried out, there was a group panel. There were a lot of panelists which were involved in the research and who would give their valuable suggestion. The pediatrician and the dermatologists which were connected with us at that particular time, they were of the opinion that the fabric is so fine, if only a single layer is worn next to the body of the child, it would not be comfortable. That would not be good for the chest. They would not need so much of the movement and the passage of the air. That is why a double layered material had to be added. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the look of khadi which is available today. We do have coarser also, but we have the finer, and the finer to an extent that even an infant whose skin is considered to be the most tender and soft can wear it. I also have a glimpse of something more for you. This is actually these are actually the silhouettes which our grannies would make for the children. I have also worn these silhouettes, but I'm in an international market today. I have to compete internationally. I have to compete in a world which wants beauty. I have to compete in a world which wants fragrance. So do you think I can survive like this? No, I cannot survive like this. To survive, it's very important that I further add value in terms of the surface development, in terms of beauty, and in also terms of the functionality to my garments. This in front of you is a glimpse of something little, the research work which is being carried out in khadi. I was speaking to you about a panel who was sitting while we were working on the research and value addition of khadi. There was one art historian also there. And we were talking about arts and crafts, and he was of the opinion, and he was telling that initially, no, ma'am, these things are changing. Initially, whatever used to be done was done from the surroundings. We talk about every possible embroidery. You know, you read the books of Kamala Devi Chattopadhyay, Jasleen Dhamija, Shailaja D. Naik, and these are a few to name. But in every chapter, when we read about motifs, we would read that the motifs were the ones which were used for the surroundings, and that is which gave us a catchword for the research for infant wear, the surfaces for infant wear. And what was in the surroundings? In the surroundings, we could see small little birds, we could see cartoons, the Pokemon, hot favorite cartoon which was available in the surroundings, small little frogs, small little birds chirping, and that is how they were taken as the motive for the design development for launching this particular range, which is still to be launched in the market. And these particular samples are a combination of painting and embroidery. So there's a lot of research which is happening on the base of khadi in painting and embroidery. Everything available in the surrounding has just been picked up and different techniques used to develop it. See the fineness of the brush with which the paint work has been developed and the fineness of the knots which have been put. The pictures which are being shown to you are blow-ups of the real work. While development of the samples, care was taken that this should be appropriate to be used on an infant clothing. Because if I'm talking about the infant clothing, the height of the garment is not going to be more than 12 inches. That is the maximum that I can talk. So imagine I cannot put such a big patch on it. A lot of value addition experimentations are being done on sewing and embroidery for infants in khadi. Our everyday tucks, the pleats, you can see the box pleats here. You can see the tucks, the space tucks, the shape tucks with the sewing, which is done only by the basic single needle lock stitch machine, the pleated ruffle. We've been doing smockings and shirrings for a long time. That's what has been used. When you look at these motifs, you will get the feeling what our grandmothers and mothers have been embroidering for us. And that's what the world wants today. World does not only want a khadi fabric, they also want what is traditionally Indian. They also want what Indians have been doing, wearing, feeling, because they think that this is where the original khadi belongs to. Further, this is an idea, giving you an idea of the samples which have been developed in sewing and embroidery. Still, the work is being done. In my third slide, when I was talking to you about the characteristics of khadi, I said khadi is one fabric which can be worn both in summers and winters, my dear friends. So a few experimentations on quilting also. The fineness of the fabric is maintained. However, the layers have been added to further give warmth, and the quilting has been done to give beauty to the base fabric. Our old traditional cross stitch we've been finding on everything, right from the tikoti set to the bedspreads, to the pillow covers and the cushion covers. Our mothers and grannies have been doing it. Little buttonholes and the bullion knots and the stitches that we've been doing. A glimpse of quilting again, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, how can you forget the most beautiful sewing technique, the patchwork? To be internationally at par with whatever the brands are doing today, khadi has also taken a lead to venture into patchwork developments, though it is considered to be very, very tough and expensive, and especially for infant wear, because it turns out to be very expensive because it has to be very small. So, but a lot of experimentations are being done for the addition of value on the surface in case of patchwork as well. Last but not the least, in terms of the experimentation, experiments are also on applique work. And again, whatever is being done in the applique is again whatever is available in the surroundings. Much efforts have not been made to specially procure the surface fabric, the top layer fabric, the applique fabric. It is all the wastage of the material that is available, which has been used to develop the applique details. You can see the layering also in certain samples. This pocket, the ruffled pocket, has been appliqued on the surface. Another beautiful example. So this is the type of innovation and value addition that khadi is doing today. But do you think only swatch development is going to help? No, it is not going to help. I may keep on developing varied swatches, may start using a lot of techniques in the laboratory. It is not going to be a success story until and unless it is transferred on the basic silhouettes. And it is here that khadi has taken the lead of transferring all such design development on the traditionally Indian basic silhouettes for infants. My dear friends, this is what is ready to be sold in the market now. This is the look. Little experiments here and there. The fabric remains my own original khadi, my Indian fabric, with the beauty which has been added with the little detailing here and there. Khadi is moving forward, still adding addition. Khadi doesn't only want to sell basic silhouettes. We want people to wear khadi as sets, because when you go to the market, you talk about the marketing, you know how to sell your product. Today, anybody will not come to the shop only to buy a jhabla or an upper piece of the clothing. Everybody would want that a newborn baby, the infant, should get a bib also alongside an upper garment. And we are innovating. We're no more making nappies. We are now making nappy covers. That's how innovation is happening in khadi. You know, times are gone now. Everybody is wearing nappy, so the market needs nappy covers. And this is how finally the designs are being developed, sets being made and being sold now. We're at the verge of beginning to sell. The production already completed. We have to be at par internationally. We're working on the same standards. But there is still more. Do you think only this type of value addition is going to make us sell? No. we do not only need to venture out on the surface, we also need to further market our product and make it visually very beautiful when it's being sold. My dear friends, Khadi has ventured into development of logos, into development of labels, is adding value to the product by carrying back home a smart tag as well. It is not only the fabric which is worth keeping, worth wearing, it is also the tag which is going to be as beautiful as the fabric is, but then it is going to sell only because of the value which has been added to Khadi. Today, it is important that the value addition does not only remain to the laboratories. With the help of the government, it is important that they have to be registered as brands, Khadi marks taken, and then we move further. That's only when the value is going to help. So summing up whatever little journey that I have discussed with you, whatever background of Khadi I have discussed with you, and the value addition that I have discussed with you. Initially, Khadi was famous because of being associated with freedom struggle. I only knew Khadi because that was one fabric which Mahatma Gandhi had developed. Trust me, before I reached college, even I did not know the history of Khadi. I only used to feel the fabric which was worn for Indian struggle was called as Khadi, and I had no background. But today, it has become a fashion statement. Indian history has witnessed its value and importance, not only as a traditional fabric, but also as the most important player of our national movement of independence. Initially, it was considered as very, very dull, heavy, coarse fabric, but now it has become a very acceptable fabric. People very happily have started going to these stores to buy this fabric. Now it is contemporary, elegant, indigenous, and a very, very important tool for rural development, because it is now, when we're looking at the revival of the Khadi, that a lot of ashrams and a lot of production centers are being restarted in the rural area. So it's again a tool for helping us for the rural development. And let me also share with you, even if I've shown you a range of clothing in white, but Khadi comes in multiple colors. It's not about only the simple colors. Khadi and its journey from a means of attaining independence today is a status symbol. I personally, it's been years and years that I've been associated with Khadi, my dear friends, almost 15 years down the lane. The most comfortable fabric that I can ever think and talk about is Khadi, and that's a 99% part of my wardrobe. Today, it is not considered as a poor man's fabric. Initially, people used to be, "Humne nahi khadi kharidni." We don't want to buy khadi because it's a poor man's fabric. Today, it is considered to be the prized possession, which everybody can't afford. You go to a khadi store and you will realize, oh my God, this is exorbitantly priced. What do I do today? So now it is not a fabric of poor man. Now it is a prized possession of everybody. Today, there are leading national and international designers and various brands like Fab India, Anoki, Khadi Plus, who are working for Khadi. And they're trying to make this as an acceptable product. And at this platform, I would request all of you, whatever I've shared with you today, please transfer it further. Please share it further. Let the world know what we possess. Let the world know what is actually ours. The fabric, this particular fabric that I'm talking to you, even if it comes from our traditional roots, today it has become a contemporary trunk, and it's growing very, very fast. Because why is it growing fast? Because so many national and international designers have joined hands. They started giving it stylish cuts, they've started giving it innovative colors, they're making beautiful surfaces, they're doing a lot of weaves, and even you would have heard Sadhguru talking about Khadi. He always wears Khadi, and he's also trying to revive so many traditional Indian Khadi based products. There is a wide variety available in the market today, right? From the jackets to the skirts to the kurtas to the dupattas, sari, crop tops, capris, trousers, what not. The best of the spaghettis and the tank tops are also available in Khadi today. So you're talking about that particular fabric. You're talking about that heritage. Today, from the masses to the elite, Khadi is making a place for itself in everybody's wardrobe. I understand that it's expensive. The fabric is available from a range of 160 a meter to 1500 a meter. But make yourself a person who is a proud possessor of Khadi. It is our own original Khadi, a fabric with philosophy. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It was a pleasure being all of you. It was so very wonderful to be a part of this presentation today, and I am sure somewhere I've been able to enlighten you. Somewhere I've been able to give you some information and insight about Khadi. And at this point of time, once again, I would like to thank Dr. Chaya. You've made me talk about something which is closest to my heart. This is something which makes me happy from within. Thank you so much. It was wonderful being on this platform.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for enlightening us with the beautiful, beautiful knowledge about Khadi that even we did not knew about before. And I am surely going to possess Khadi in my wardrobe from tomorrow
You
onwards
must.
only.
No,
It
you
was
must, Chandana. It's only when you will go and buy Khadi that you will realize that this is something that you've been missing in your life. Today, even
yes.
wherever I have to go, I always think, what is the best Khadi that I can carry? Because that doesn't only give me a feeling of possessing something as a fabric. It makes me feel, it gives me that patriotic feeling. This is mine. This is what I belong to. This is where my fabric belongs to. Wherever I travel, it's always Khadi that makes me very happy. There is one question in the chat box which I would be very happily answering. The question says, does the business of Khadi help the small manufacturing companies economically? And this is asked by some Palak Chandel. Palak, very, very appropriate question for today. Yes, it helps small manufacturing companies, and I and my family are a live example. Way back in 2007, when we actually wanted to start this business, my husband was an empaneled designer of KVIC Government of India. We had no know-how. We would be, he would be doing such beautiful designs, and when the Khadi Bandar people would want to, further get them produced, they were not able to because they did not have the know-how of the pattern making and the sewing. It was left only at this that particular stage, and so then at that particular time, the then director of KVIC Punjab, Dr. Tomar, he was the one who said that why don't you as a family, you people, start this business? When we started, we had no means to start a business because we do not belong to a business background. It was then that we came across this scheme of government which is called PMEGP scheme, and we were told that there's availability of loan to the maximum of 25 lakhs in this scheme. But my dear friend, 25 lakhs sounded very big, and we thought, how would we repay? So we finally decided on to taking only 2 lakhs under this scheme, and we were very, very glad to get this loan of 2 lakhs sanction. And it was only with this 2 lakhs that my husband actually started this business, and we're doing a turnover of crores today. And it is only because of a thought that we wanted to add value addition. So nobody starts big, everybody starts small. So small manufacturing companies are the ones which are benefited the most. And then we also become a part of a chain which helps in the development of the country. We become a part of a chain which is an employment generator for so many people who do not have employment. So perhaps that is what we can be a part of. There's another question, how reliable the Khadi mark is. How can we identify the genuine Khadi mark? Again, a very good question. Khadi mark itself is a very, very reliable mark because this is issued only by Government of India. There's a particular hologram which is issued, and every garment is expected to have the tag with that specific hologram where you can where you have the Khadi mark. And as far as how to identify the genuine Khadi mark is concerned, you will have to log on to kvic.gov.in. You would get the actual images and also the complete procedure, the way you can recognize this genuine Khadi mark. So if you have any other question, you can again please put it in the chat box, and I will be more than happy to answer, please.
Yes, ma'am, we have one more question.
Yes.
Khadi weavers are earning hardly is 50 per day or even less than that. How can we help them?
Oh, that's wonderful, Chandana. But to my surprise, this data needs to be updated. It is not rupees 50 per day. As per the laid down norms, of the minimum wages also, which are applicable to every state, the minimum wages as on today are minimum 285 to 350. So when this data has come to you, there is still some error which is happening. No organization, no corporation can hire anybody and give them money which is of such a less amount. It used to be, but it was many, many years back.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. So I hand over to
Poonam
Anila
ma'am,
now.
actually, I have a question. I'm working
Yes,
with
ma'am.
actually handloom weavers, and they are weaving
Yes.
khadi and handloom fabric. So they get 65 rupees to 100 rupees for weaving 12 meters of khadi fabric. That is one than. So it is still there,
Yes,
and they
ma'am.
are not getting the even minimum wages.
Ma'am, actually the point is
It
this
is the
cannot
case
be
of
under. Yes, ma'am, I will
they are
agree with
independent.
you. No, but I tell you, the moment the mediators come in between, the exploitation happens. Because maybe they do not, they are not in touch with the corporations directly. If they are in touch with the corporation directly, corporations hire these people for the development of khadi. As you rightly said in the beginning, the production of the khadi is much lesser than the demand. You know, that is why the
Yes.
corporations are looking for the right people who can actually weave. My suggestions to you is that if you, since you're working with these weavers, if you can ask them to go and develop their cards wherein they can be directly registered with this the industries department and handloom and weavers center of that particular state, therein they will start getting the right money, because it is the need of the hour. We need right weavers who can do it. For me also, when we have to fetch good fabric, it gets so tough. We either have to ask for people in Murshidabad or down south, and then only we are able to get the material. We have this khadi production center in Kharad also. We do not find weavers who can do it. So it is perhaps that they are not aware, because the lack of
Yeah,
awareness
they
is the
actually they are
biggest
illiterate.
problem.
Most of them are
Yes.
illiterate, or most of them are they have studied up to fifth or sixth class, and that too in madrasa. Most of them are Muslim weavers, and they are not able
Yes.
to communicate also for their rights. So they are
Yes.
basically independent weavers, and they are not attached with corporation or
They are not attached with. That is
the
where the exploitation actually happens, because then the mediator starts moving from house to collect the fabric, because they would want that every weaver should have a loom therein, start weaving, and they would come and collect. As if you remember, in India there is this
yes,
concept of recurring deposit in the banks. So these people come to
yeah.
everybody's household and take the money. Similarly, that is how they're coming to every household and taking the fabric. And since Dr. Shaya, you're working with them, it is my humble request to you to tell them to register themselves with the Handloom Weaver Service Center of that particular
Actually,
specific city.
they are registered with handloom. They have all identity card given by the government, and the khadi people, they come and they supply the yarn raw material by weight,
Okay.
and then they take back the fabric, and they are paying depending upon the width of the fabric, and they are paying
Yes.
65 rupees per than, that is 12 meter, to 120, that is the maximum.
Or, ma'am,
So
which area are you talking about? And how much are they able to weave in a day?
if entire family is involved, that means the loom is working for 10 to 12 or more than that hours a day. Suppose one family member is weaving, others is doing some household chores, then the other
Yeah.
family member will continue to weave. So that means the loom is working for 12 to 14 hours a day, and then
Right.
some of them are able to weave one than a day. So that
One,
means
and
if they are
even if
getting
only 12 to
120
yes.
rupees, yeah,
Okay.
120 rupees per day, that means the effort is of entire family, not an
Of
individual
entire
weaver.
family. Yes, that's a very, very alarming state. And ma'am, which area are you talking about, if you can?
I'm
Because since
yeah,
a lot of production is required to be done, we can ask the
yeah,
corporation to get in touch with the weavers of that area and get the production done.
it is Jalalpur in Ambedkar Nagar district of Uttar Pradesh.
All right, ma'am. All right. And since there's a lot of khadi development which is happening in Uttar Pradesh,
Yeah.
and at this platform, I must also share with you that Nadiadwala is a place in Uttar Pradesh where even the humidifiers have been set in a particular specific area, because khadi weaving and spinning needs certain humidity in the environment.
They do not have even separate work shed. So So they are working in a very small
At home
room
only.
where they pack up their loom in the night and they sleep. They use it for sleeping also. So it's multi-purpose loom, hardly 10 by
I
10
think,
feet in size.
I think, ma'am, I will be of some help here. I will surely be able to take the lead from you.
Yeah.
And if we can
Okay,
together
okay. Thank you
for
so
a
much.
social cause do something for them. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am.
My pleasure, ma'am. Pleasure to be with you today.
Thank you so much, ma'am. On behalf of Professor Sudha Katyal, Principal, Government Home Science College, Mrs. Chaya Verma, Head of the Department, and the entire team of Clothing and Textiles Department, I would like to thank Mrs. Poonam Agarwal Thakur for conducting this wonderful session and her inputs on value addition of Khadi. I'm sure all the viewers will make use of this wonderful fabric and keep in line with the spirit of being Swadeshi. A very special thanks to our technical team for holding this flawless session. Thank you so much, ma'am. Have a nice day. Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much.